Start. That took very nicely. Live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Instagram. Last but not least, peace and love, kings, queens, and gods. I am your boy, the Floating Yogi, and this is Floating Yogis Book Club, brought to you by Yogi, Urban Yogic Wellness and Education, where we are restructuring health and wellness in the community, one healthy habit at a time. So your cousin with the bum knees, your uncle with the broke back, we can integrate these healthy habits to help facilitate a better state of well-being. And I highly encourage you to tap in with the growth game, because we grow together. We can go far, we can go fast alone, and we can go far together. I encourage you to try to find some long distance running. Let's get it. Not actual long distance running, especially with me and how my knees are set up. But I'm talking about getting a little bit more time, a little bit more duration happening. Welcome, Ashtanga Flow. Hopefully you come and join us at Sun and Moon Yoga or at Flow Yoga Center, where we can get the physical portion of the practice together. I just have an inkling that you might do a little bit of Ashtanga, just a splash. You know, if you're in DC or Arlington, VA, come on, pop through, make it do what it do. So some of the people who help me be me, help me do what I do. We got Payoga, they part of the crew. My dude DJ Tony comes from a dimension where people are our greatest resource, and that's exactly what he is, the embodiment of it. So I encourage you to tap in with him and see how he can be one of these fantastic resources for yourself. Maybe it's being a part of the growth game, maybe it's tapping into the daily movement and meditation. Matter of fact, let me have him tell you about some of the blessings that he just drops on folks.
My name is Tony, and I truly believe that people are our greatest resource. I wake up every morning thinking about it, and so every morning I come to you hot and live to tell you that you are loved, and try to make you smile a little bit and let you know that somebody believes in you. I believe that we have the intrinsic value of ourselves and greatness within us just because we exist. So every morning we share some love, we do a little breath work, and I give you a quick prayer, nothing too heavy on you, so that we can get our day started the right way. Meditation, A1, no negative side effects. I don't see a reason not to do it. And right after, you can head on right over to ue.dc and go to that story where it says, did you move and meditate today? And you can click, yep, move to meditate. And then the next day you get a little shout out, which can be like a reminder to do it again. Real simple process. Come on, join the growth gang. We had 10 people today. I'm trying to get 20.
Hey, I'm here for that. 20 people sound like a win right there. 20 people that are focused on self-betterment and self-reflection. Oh my God.
And it wasn't all 20 meditations. Some people were stuck and stagnant. So I gave them a little blue heart. If they stuck and stagnant again tomorrow, I'm gonna send them a funny meme, because that's how I work. I don't like being stale and dry. I'm gonna hit them up with a picture of like Buddha saying something silly, and then be like, did you meditate today?
See, this is what I mean by people being our greatest resource, and this is what I mean about we can go far together or we can go fast alone. Let's go far together. Let's create a little time, a little duration. Hey, what up, Shay? Oh no, unfortunately, you wasn't able to figure it out. I'm going to link with you after this, and we're going to get you hooked up so you already set up. It's going to send you a message when you're ready to hop in the book club or the midday mind, right? I got you covered. Let's see. Another one of the sponsors, we got Lifeform. Lifeform has some fantastic mats. I use them, my partner uses them, Jumi uses them. Great place to get these on-mat lessons so we can take the things that we do learn off of the mat and into our day-to-day life in spaces like this. So, speaking of spaces like this, what are we reading? We got the book club tonight. How yoga works. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Shay, if you are interested in getting a little tutorial on how to get everything set up, Payoga, he's in this chat as well. He's actually put the link in the cheesy. I encourage you to hit him up, or Brent, who just tapped into. What I do, Brent? Welcome to the crew, Brent. And either one of them can get you hooked up and get you sent to the Zoom room so we can chit chat and make it happen. Alright. So we're reading How Yoga Works, and just to give a little brief synopsis so we're all caught up. There's this girl traveling from Tibet. She ends up getting arrested because she has this book with Sanskrit language. They're like, you stole it. She said, nah. They said, all right, well, I don't care. You're under arrest until you teach me yoga and fix my back, since you said that this is your book. Then you can do this. She said, okay, challenge accepted. And now she's going to town, getting his back together.
You make it sound like we ain't been in this book for 3 weeks. She ain't just say, yeah, challenge accepted. The girl is starving. The girl is like not doing good. She in prison. You make it sound like
she's in prison.
Not a guru. Like, no, okay? No. And that's why y'all need to get in the Zoom room too, so y'all can call him out on his stuff like I do.
I'm just saying.
It was not just challenge accepted. It's a process.
It was for sure a process. How they got to the challenge.
It's a V for Vendetta and everything.
It was a whole V for Vendetta situation on the joke. And so when she was arrested, she was like, all right, so I can teach you this yoga stuff, but if you're doing it for you, you're not really going to do it. So how about we need compassion? You got to do this yoga for more than just you. You got to do it for the people around you, like the sergeant. You got to do it for the other people who work in the jail. So this is his mentality behind it. He's trying to get people, she's trying to get the captain of the jail to see the impact of his actions, how him doing yoga is inspiring other people to take healthy actions in their life. And she's using that for the as the linchpin for the captain to stay focused and dedicated to his practice. And apparently that worked, because he saw those days. Then the captain was obsessed with doing it right, and and he was like, yeah, you got to do it. No, the captain wasn't obsessed with doing it right. He was like, well, I did it. I'm going to half-ass the poses and the positioning and the alignment. I don't care what it's really supposed to look like. I did it, didn't I? Well, that's just not how it works. So she came through with the 1-2 and got them together. They talked about cultivating the practice. They talked about with consistency and regularity. We talked about, the channels of light, those fine nadis and lines of energy through the body. Yeah. That are supposed to be light thin. That's pretty cool. Interesting way to look at it. So we started talking about them. We started talking about the Ida and the Pingala. We started talking about the Shushumna, but we didn't really give them those. Then we started talking about the inner winds and how our thoughts get stuck in different parts of our body. Oh my gosh, you might have to watch the episode to find out about that. We talked about the horse and the horsemen, on how the different energy channels, how the different energy flows through the different channels in the body, and different energy and different sides flow different energy. One's on thoughts and one's on objects. if you're not following, you might have to go back and catch the recap. I encourage you to just go on and hit up the courses.uedc.com that Brent done put in there, and then that Payoga did too. They just doubled down, did what they do. Yeah, you might as well just tap on there and just sign up and hop in the Zoom room so we could chit chat, because I know you're like, hold up. I do have a question about that, but we moving forward. We on chapter 11. Breath and smile. First week of May. The next day, the sergeant came rather unceremoniously, opened the door to my cell, and waved his stick towards the front of the door of the station. I gathered up my bag with a shawl and bowl and said, for Basuku's sake, "So I'm to go for work at my weaver's?" That was like a low-key, "I'm telling you, Basuku, that I'm about to go, so don't bring the food over here. Don't waste it, because they're going to be gone and Buzz won't get it." Because like Tony was saying, they starving her, yo. It's wild. They starving her. Okay. The sergeant didn't react at all, just to let me know that he knows by now everything that ever went on between the prisoners. He taped his stick to the floor, but actually looked as relaxed as I had ever seen him, in an expectant sort of way. And that in itself got me nervous in my stomach again. Going past the captain's door, I peeked inside and caught him peeking too. I nodded in a way that said he need not worry about having trust in me. And he really didn't. I don't know what age it is when you figure it out. I suppose with some people it must be later than sooner, but I had already come to realize that whenever I was happy or not had just about nothing to do with the kind of place I was staying in. She ain't worried about the space. She in jail, but she free because she living through them. She's not in the mind. She's living through it. The third eye. You see why I did it that way? Bah! It's coming at the camera. Bah! Right there for you. If you ain't see it. Bah! All right, move forward. And here at the jail, I had a captive audience. You see, I had at least one person who would stick with what I was teaching him because he was hurting, and it would make him better. And oh, how glorious it would be if together we could heal the other two broken souls. They say that the most stunning flower of all, the lotus, grows in the filthiest part of the pond, feeds on the filth to produce its beauty. And so stepping out into the jail didn't feel much different to me really than sitting inside of it. It was fertile ground for what I had to give. See what I mean? She said, challenge accepted, yo. She was like, alright, you're going to arrest me and force me to teach you yoga. This is the universe, God, the Lord of the Rings, whatever you want to call a higher power. This is that saying, I have to actually take away all your options for you to do what I want you to. And in the most unlikely of places is where she found her first pupil. I'm keep moving. On the porch, I turned and touched the sergeant warmly on the arm. He jumped and stared at me. I stepped away to the side smoothly with a little wave. The grandmother would have done. "I'll be right back," I said breezily. "Just gotta get the dog." The sergeant was so taken aback that he didn't think to stop me. "On the rope?" he called out when I was already halfway to the back of the building. If you've ever lived with one of those Tibetan lapdogs, then I don't have to tell you that what my reunion with long life was like. Wild circles singing in the sky, wrapping my legs in the rope. "Shush now, little lion. I love you too, but the sergeant's a little free with his stick, so..." Oh, and I don't think either of us should push our luck. So she just now getting a little bit of freedom. She asked the sergeant if she can get some food since she's, living there or whatnot. Sergeant was like, "What are you talking about?" The captain was like, "What are you talking about? That's the sergeant's job. That's not my job. I'm the captain of the jail. I don't deal with getting people food or what you're doing in the jail. I deal with how it runs. It's operations." So hurry up and teach me yoga. It's time. It's like, dang, yo. And then she was like, you know what? I'm supposed to be here. This is what's supposed to happen. Alright. It was about a half hour's walk to the old woman's house. Oh, and then the captain said, then the sergeant came in. No nothing, and just told her to get out. That was in the end of the last chapter that y'all hopefully didn't miss, because y'all been catching the replays. You've been riding with us. I'm going to keep going. Keep going. There's a rickety shed out behind, and she set a small loom there with a pile of fresh straw, this time on the floor. She was short, stocky widow with unkempt hair. Life had carved its lines deep in her face and had struggled while it did. She didn't speak to me much. On that first day after the sergeant left, she looked at me with a scowl, held her nose with disgust, and sent me off to the stream nearby with orders not to return until me and my dress and that disgusting mongrel were washed and dried. The stream ran into two fields. I mean, they wasn't feeding her. They wasn't letting her shower. She was using some of the drinking water they give after a couple days and wash a portion of her body and a portion of her dress. I'd be happy to go take a dip in a stream too. I won't want to smell me either. But that's life. The stream ran between two fields that had just been tilted and planted. They were huge and ran in either direction as far as the eye could see. I found a small wooden bridge with some bushes growing on this side, where we would sit and dry without being seen. The water and the sun were glorious, but long life and I didn't tarry. I would not provide the sergeant with any excuse to lock us up for good. As for the work, there's not much to say, just the usual. I wore my fingers to the bone, churning out thin, shoddy little rugs that my mistress could sell quickly and easily in town on market day. Any suggestions I had for the rich design of deep piles of rugs we made with my homeland of Tibet, we were met with stony silence, and in order to get back to work. So don't make nothing in honor of Tibet. Make the things that's going to sell. She about that money. It's that simple. The sergeant came several times and stayed too long out behind the house, listening to the woman's lies about how much food the dog and I were going through every day. He would shut the bargaining off with a tap of his stick when he got impatient, hand back the woman a few coins, and then walk straight off to town for his liquor. Every morning I was at the jail, bright and early, sitting on a little bench, well before the captain arrived. On the day he called for his next class, I stopped him about halfway through the poses. It's time to talk about breathing. Let's do it. I said. He was in fact puffing already and seemed quite grateful to pause and listen. This is real. This is a real part. It be happening all the time. I be trying to tell people, yoga is about the mind, the body, and the energy. Something for the mind, something for the body, something for the energy. If we are not doing these three things, we are not uniting them. It's about uniting them. Yoga means union of the mind, of the body, and of the energy.
So does that mean if I huff and puff do my sun salutation, then I should do it again?
I like where you're going with this. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, out of pure ratchetness. Out of pure ratchetness. You huffing and puffing on the sun sals, run that shit back. Come on, let's do it again. I mean, maybe after a break or something, maybe take a moment to pause. But one breath, one movement, right? Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold in. We can make it nice and smooth. And then once we get out of rhythm, once we get out of flow, take a moment. Just stop. Hang out and down dog. Take child's pose. Get back to it when you start to collect yourself. I'm not going to say calm all the way down. I'm going to be real with you. Don't calm all the way down, because we want the heart rate to accelerate. We want to be able to shove ourselves in superficial, stressful situations, and we want to be able to regulate ourselves when we don't think we can. Because how would that correlate with you getting caught off guard in the real world? Pretty well, because you're prepared. Moving! Oh, hold up, maybe. Moving forward. If there's anything about our outside physical body that most affects the inner winds, it's not actually the poses themselves, I said. Our breath is even more linked to the winds. And so if we can breathe in a way that keeps the winds from causing stoppages in the channels, the poses become infinitely more effective. If, on the other hand, we breathe in fits and stop while we go through our poses, it can do more harm to the channels than good. Because tie-ups like the one that makes your back hurt. Oh, causing tie-ups like the one that makes your back hurt. The captain nodded. I noticed he was already making an effort to gain his breath flow smooth again. Right then and there. He really had great instincts, or something, for yoga, for everything involved with yoga. When the master talks about how to breathe, what he first says is, keep a close watch on the breath, outside or inside, stopped or being exchanged. That seems relatively simple. Keep a close watch. Is it outside? Is it inside? Is it stopped or is it being exchanged? And that's a little bit like the box breathing, that we do on Thursdays. You can come on through on Thursdays. I encourage you, right? We got the inhale. We got the pause at the top. We got the exhale. We got the pause at the bottom. We got the holds. We got the action. Yeah. It's only those. It's 2 parts of 2. It's simple as I don't know what. But sometimes we like to complicate life. Now, the first and most obvious thing to say about your breathing is you go through the poses that you should always breathe through your nose, not through your mouth, unless, of course, you have some serious blockage in your nostrils. If there is a blockage that's caused by some kind of congestion, lots of mucus, then before starting your session, you should do your best to clear it out. You can blow your nose or even do more effective things that free it up, special techniques that the sages of old discovered, and that I would rather show you than tell you about, should the need arise. But you should really keep an eye on whether your nostrils and the nasal passages behind them are in any way blocked or constricted. If they are, it could really be making the poses much more difficult to do and less effective. I say less effective in one sense because of the connection between your nasal passage and those 3 main channels that we're trying to work on to loosen. These 3 don't just stop at the top of your head. The 2 side channels come down inside your skull and then out through each side of the top of your nose. This is in fact why your nose grows with 2 nostrils in the first place. And in the middle channel comes down and ends behind the spot on your lower part of your forehead, just above the halfway point between your eyebrows. Peculiar places it's talking about, right? Yatta! So, when you breathe in and out through your mouth, in and out, not through your mouth but through your nose and smoothly, it has a way of helping to calm the flow of the inner winds within the 3 channels. With their opening so close to the nose, This then helps loosen the choke points around the important centers along the back of the head. The back and the head, right? You picking up, there's some choke points around the centers along the back and the head. This sounds like something we have spoken about before. Center points. Chakras. Moving forward. The captain was listening carefully. I knew it from the sound of his breath, which was growing softer and softer. When we listen to something intently, the mind is focused, and this slows the inner winds, which slows the breath. All connected, I thought. Now, at different points in your poses, we want all the breath to be either outside of your body or to be inside of your body. This happens, for example, when you do that very first pose, bowing to the sun. At the exact point when you are reaching for the sky, at the very point when you are stretching to the limit of your breath is all inside, and you are at the very end of an inhale of your breath. The stretch should be very natural, smooth, and a happy experience, like what you do naturally when you stretch your arms out, and a good huge yawn feels great. Your lungs are full, radiant with air, and your blood is drinking in its food, it's the oxygen. There are other points when all the breath should have gone outside the body, like at the very next step at the same pose, when you bend over and touch your toes. As you reach your furthest point down, your tummy should be squeezing in and making sure every last drop of air you can get out of the lungs is out to the outside, delivering the carbon dioxide waste from your blood back into the air of the world. You see this exchange that's happening, right? That's what they mean, in or out. Where is it? And there's some other metaphors that come with the in or out, because if you see breath as spirit and all the breath is in the body, you're fully alive, and all the breath is gone, like our last breath. Yeah, we can get back to this on another date, right? Ha 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 ha. Move forward. If you don't get the fresh air in full, the body won't have enough fuel. If you don't get the used air out, there's no place for the next breath of fresh air. You want me to run that one back? Don't worry, I will. If you don't get the fresh air in full, the body won't have enough fuel. If you don't get the used air out, there's no place for the next breath of fresh air. And then the breath begins to go out of rhythm. Right there, starting to move just a touch in stops and starts. This then puts a little more pressure on the middle channel, where the two side channels choke it. The middle channel choked, broke in the captain, fewer happy thoughts. And then in a few minutes, you're not feeling happy doing the poses. It begins to feel like work, or even a little tense. Just right, I nodded. And then the muscles tense up a bit, just a bit, and that knocks the breathing more out of balance. And that disturbs the winds in the channels rather than smoothing them out, which is what the poses are supposed to do. And then, well, eventually, it's just not much fun. And you give up on your yoga, along with every hope of really curing something like your bad back forever. She's laying it on thick, but I mean, I get it, because homie does have her arrested in jail. Alright, where we at? I think we got one more page in this thing. Yeah, we got one more page. Now, you especially have to watch that the breathing never stops or gets held up. There's a natural pause for a split second right between the end of one breath and the start of another. And again, as the lungs reach the full point just before you exhale. And there are other situations where the breath pauses, sometimes for quite some length of time, due to a beautiful stillness of the inner winds. But we'll get to that later. During your poses, though, you have to be careful never to let the breath stop. The breath should always be in motion, deep motion, all the air being exchanged in and out. Never let the breath lock up inside. Never hold it in when you're saying you're having trouble reaching or keeping a certain position. I'm going to run that back part too, because that that be a thing. Never let the breath lock up inside or hold it when, say, you're having trouble reaching or keeping a certain position. This puts a lot of pressure on the choke points, and that's the last thing we want. Right? One last little tip, which will always help keep your breath from locking up. Remember to keep a close watch here. I touched his forehead just above the midway point of the eyebrows. Whoop. And here too, put a finger to each corner of his mouth and pushed it up to form a smile. See? You must be kidding, he said, looking down a little bashful. Not at all, I said, dead serious. When you let the challenging poses get the better of you, then your forehead starts to scrunch together between your eyebrows. This is facts. This is facts. Record yourself. Watch yourself. Go to a yoga class and look at the room. The saying, relax your face, is real. This is right at the delicate place where the channels are coming out, and that little frown causes blocks in the flow. That's in fact why we don't frown here. It's not somewhere else in our bodies. So, let's see. Can I actually show you all this one? I think I can. So, like little creases of the mouth, as we smile, the cheeks kind of like press up, and we have sinus cavities around here, and we're immediately opening them up. So, the flow of energy, yes, it does change the flow of energy when we smile and when we frown. The frown pushes it down. It literally blocks the passageways. You see? It's some little things that we just don't be paying attention to because, we got Wi-Fi and cell phones and things. I got you, yo. I got you. These are those little things, those healthy habits. Alright, we almost done. Just rock with us. And sign up on the website, courses.uedc.com, yo. Become part of the growth gang. Sign up for go on and follow UEIG and tap into the stories. Don't forget to meditate, vote, and share. Become part of the growth gang. Alright. And then smiling actually sets off a flow of nice thoughts in the middle channel. Finish the captive. And so, a little smile while you're doing your poses is one of the most important poses of all. I grinned. He grinned. And finished his poses trying to grin. And then I returned to the old woman who never grinned at all. Yo. Breath and heart. Second week of May. We'll start that next week. Next Tuesday on the book club, though. So, I got some fun things that I want to bring in here. If it's ready next week, I'm gonna bring some of the fun things out. We'll be able to talk about like the chakras. We'll be able to talk about some of the other things in here. We talked about the Ida, the Shishuna. This Thursday we'll do a little alternate nostril breathing and a little alternate nostril breathing with retention. And of course, since I said it, box breathing. So we're going to tie all those together. We're going to make it a nice little string. I encourage you to check out the book, y'all. It's not a super hard read. It's not super crazy deep, but it gives you some food for thought. And the mind can use a good meal. A good meal. A good one. With that being said, y'all, we getting into the good stuff. I'm getting excited. If you have any questions and comments, want to work on something, you're like, yo, I want to know a little bit more about this yoga stuff. Well, I had a question. You was talking about the inner winds, or you said something about a pingalo. A what? A shashu come through? I got you. Go on, send me that email. We can make this thing move and shake. We're going to make it happen. promise, want to work on something, want to rap, come on, join the Zoom room and send me that email. Peace and love, y'all. Socials, I'm out.